Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And it feels like it has been so long since I built a big house like this. And I think it has been. I feel like for the past month or two, maybe, I have done like some smaller homes, I've built homes, but some smaller ones. And I've done a ton of apartments, which has been really refreshing for me because I really didn't do a lot of them last year. And I've been enjoying decorating more than building lately, which is odd for me because I used to just love building and not decorating as much. But I think I am having so much fun with apartments. And I finally reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to try to build something again. And this was the first thing that I built in, I want to say, at least 3 weeks. Like a full build and like a pretty big sized family home too. Now this is going to be more of, and as you probably saw in the thumbnail and the title, it's going to be kind of like a rustic contemporary family home. It is a 4-bed and 4-bathroom home, which I was thrilled with. I wasn't sure how much space I was actually going to have, but it turns out, I think, really nice. I used combinations of windows that I haven't done before. I tried to use different sidings and stone textures to kind of bring in some of the more rustic but also contemporary elements that I was going for. And the interior is very like cream, dark browns and blacks and even some whites. And it's kind of it's eye-catching to me. I really liked it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as well because I'm really proud of this one. And it wasn't at all what I was originally envisioning. And I love it when that happens. That's like one of my favorite things. When you have this vision in your head, sometimes it can be frustrating, but when you have this vision in your head and you're like, I can't wait to do this. And then you get in there, you start working on it and it evolves into something completely different, but you still love it. Sometimes that can happen and you absolutely loathe it, but I loved how this came out. I was thrilled. I was really happy with it. And yeah, I'm pre-recording right now as well. So today that I am recording this is January 17th, and we just got the announcement for the brand new kits that are coming out in 2 days. So by the time that you watch this video, we will have already had the kits, probably for like a week, if not more. I don't really know. I don't want to make promises in past time. I have no idea when this is going to go up on the channel, but we did just get the 2 new kits announced. It's going to be the bathroom clutter kit and the Symptomates kit, which very clever name, very cute. And my first impressions, the bathroom clutter kit, I think that's cool. I love clutter. You guys know this at this point. If you've watched my builds before, you know I'm a big fan of clutter. The Symptomates makes me laugh, but I'm also thrilled by it. I really like it because we don't really have that many like underwear options in the game, but my Sims also don't spend a lot of time in their underwear. So I don't really know how much it matters for me in my gameplay or anything like that, but I was kind of thinking this the other day and it was both frustrating to me, but I also understood. So let me just get this out, okay? So we haven't had a stuff pack in like 2 years, right? And we now have the everyday clutter kit. We're gonna have the bathroom clutter kit. And we've had a lot of just like build and buy kits across the board, as well as create a sim kits, which I know that those are probably much easier to put out more frequently, completely understand. But we haven't had a gameplay kit since the very first one, which was the Bust the Dust kit. So that's kind of disappointing to me. But when I really thought about it, I'm like, if we're gonna go down this road of having just different kinds of clutter kits as well, why couldn't we have just gotten like a clutter stuff pack? Do you know what I mean? Like that's where my head goes. I wish that they had just, I know that they have said that the frequency of kits and other things like that, it wasn't going to affect stuff packs, but it has. We haven't had one in 2 years. The Paranormal stuff pack was like arguably one of the best stuff packs we've ever gotten. And that was the last one thus far. So I don't know. I don't mind kits. I'm one of those people. I'm a collector, number one. So I usually buy every single pack, though I did wait for Journey to Batu to go on sale. But yeah, I at the time, like by the time you see this, I will have bought the kits and I probably like them and I've probably used them. But I'm just kind of curious as to what the plan is especially with knowing that Project Renee is like on the horizon over the next couple of years. Do you know what I mean? Where I feel like we're in this weird interim period for The Sims 4, but I'm also still having a great time, so I don't really care. But anyway, that's where my brain is at right now. And you can see that the exterior is coming together. I talked through all the landscaping, which I really, really liked. And I loved using these window boxes from the Werewolves game pack because they look kind of DIY. And that kind of adds to, I think, the rustic charm of this house. But we're now on to the interior, and I used that open kind of accordion door from the Desert Luxe kit to go out to the back patio. And that's actually right where the dining table is going to be, like right in that doorway. And I love it so much. I've done something similar in another build before where I used the one from the Industrial Loft kit, which is also gorgeous, like the open glass door thing. And I put the dining table there too in that last build. I just think it's really pretty because I didn't want to dedicate a whole room to the dining room because I wanted more bedrooms. But the floor plan was a little bit wonky to me at first. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I was just trying to sort out separate spaces. And I think with the dormers on the second story, it kind of created little weird spaces and rooms. And there's one in the kitchen in this build that I turned into kind of like a walk-in pantry, which of course isn't really functional, but it's because I didn't know what to do with the space at all. Like I had no idea. And one of the first rooms that we actually work on is going to be the living room. I usually start in the living room or the kitchen, I've noticed. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because the living room really sets the tone for me for a build. That could be it. Like the whole decorating style is kind of set once I'm in the living space. I don't know, but I went with a lot of browns, like I said. So I used this darker brown tile in the bathrooms, which I really liked. And I went with more neutral, kind of sort of darker tones for the walls. I mean, this isn't exactly a dark wallpaper or a dark paint color, but I kind of went with more neutral tones, and I used this sofa from the Desert Luxe kit as well, which is becoming one of my favorites very slowly. And I used, ow, I just hit my ring on the desk, ignore me. And I also used this fireplace from Cottage Living because it's just contemporary enough, but also just rustic enough for what I was going for. Now, I really struggled with this window area here. It's almost like a bay window, but I didn't know what to put here. I was going to put these two armchairs, but it just looked really awkwardly laid out, and I didn't like it at all. So I end up pulling those armchairs out and putting like a plant and a stuffed like Bigfoot toy because I did envision that this family has 2 parents and I think 2 kids and 2 teenagers is what I ended up going for. Yeah, I want to say that's what I ended up going for. Of course, you could have whatever Sims that you would like live here. You could make whatever changes that you would like depending on what family you have in here, but I think that's what I was envisioning. And since the shape of this house is a little bit odd, even though it's pretty big, it's a little bit odd. I do have 2 of the bedrooms on the first floor, and then the other 2 bedrooms are upstairs, which I've become a lot more comfortable doing. I used to be very uncomfortable with having like the bedrooms split on different levels. I don't know why, but I used to be very uncomfortable with it. Now I'm just like, I don't care. It's wherever I can fit them, honestly. This doesn't have to be super uber realistic because, you know, Sims. But the living room is pretty much coming together. I do add a few decorations to the coffee table, but I was super indecisive because I felt as though a lot of the decorations that I might typically gravitate towards weren't fitting the style that I wanted to bring forth in this build. So I was like getting frustrated with myself. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately too. I'm fine. I'm just getting like frustrated with myself because I use the same items all the time and it's so hard for me to break that mold in my own head, especially when I'm in the midst of building. And I don't know about you all, but I feel the pressure when I'm actively recording a build. I feel the pressure to like move through it quickly because I know if I spend a lot of time maybe in a particular room or like doing landscaping or something, that it translates to more time added to a video. And then my head is just going a million miles an hour. And I'm like, oh gosh, is this going to be like a 40-minute voiceover? How much do I have to edit? Like, that's where my head is at. So sometimes what I'm trying to say is that leads to me making like odd decisions. And then once I like chill out and kind of come back to things, I might make a change here and there just to kind of, you know, fix it to my liking. But all in all, I did like this living space and it really did set the tone for the rest of the build as well. You're going to see that wall planter from Dine Out so much throughout this build. I use it basically whenever there's spare wall space because I don't know why, I just always have the drive to use a lot of plants when I do like a rustic / contemporary interior because I just feel as though they're very complementary. And I also added some industrial elements here in the kitchen by using these base game counters and cabinets, but I did use the black appliances from the Country Kitchen Kit, which I thought were also really pretty. Now there is no breakfast table, which is something I typically do, but I decided to do just 2 bar stools here at the bar height countertops because they have the full dining table as well. And I don't finish the kitchen before moving on to some other parts too, because I was really just trying to lay out where things were going to go. And since I envisioned this as where the dining table was going to go, I wanted to make sure it could fit because I didn't know if it was going to fit or not. If it didn't, I probably would have ended up with a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, which I'm glad I didn't have to settle for because I was really happy with being able to get more Sims in this house as well. And of course, this would have just been a huge open hallway, which I didn't want. I didn't want a huge open hallway. I wanted this to be a purposeful space, and I was able to do that. So I was really happy. But I do really like the kitchen. I think it's very, very cozy. I'm now completely in love with this brown tile on the floor that I ended up using. I've used the tile wallpaper before, but that brown tile flooring I have not used before. And I really, really like it. Like all of a sudden, I am absolutely in love with it. But I'm going to be decorating the dining room here, and I swapped out the chairs that I originally had because that's when I realized I was going more rustic than rustic contemporary. So I did swap them out for these chairs from the Dream Home Decorator pack. And I used these mirrors, well, actually this mirror from high school years, and I created kind of like this mirror display as well on the wall, which I thought was kind of creative and kind of cool. I don't know what made me think of it, but I did it. I think I saw someone use the Tiny Living stuff pack mirror and like overlap it at one point to make a cool mirror design. So that was probably in my head. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. So I decided to do one there, and then I just put a full length mirror over by the front door. There's that little like Seasons, I'll call it like a china cabinet or like console or something, as well as those 2 kind of like open, I guess I'll call those china cabinets too. I don't know what these things are called, okay? Maybe I'm just making things up at this point. But I thought that those were very kind of rustic looking, so I decided to use those. And then I used that painting from Get Famous. I think I used it 2 other times throughout this build, but in the 2 other black and white swatches because it was rather contemporary looking and it had the color scheme that I was looking for. But this is going to be the kitchen. We're finally cluttering this up, and it's not super duper cluttered either. I'll say minimal for me. I went fairly minimal with the clutter only because this wasn't really I don't know, it's not that they don't use their kitchen that much, but I just didn't think that they would have a ton of clutter items because I was actually envisioning, for some reason this time, a ton of storage in those cabinets and the countertops and everything, but then they had that walk-in pantry, so maybe that's where they store most of their things. I did also merge that shelf from the Cool Kitchen stuff pack, and I merged it into the upper head cabinets. I really enjoy doing that because I don't really like the painting on it, but sometimes I'll use it as just like a wall decoration. And I loved using all of the black appliances. I thought it looked very, very sleek and very, very pretty. I don't personally enjoy black appliances typically. I like stainless steel myself. I had white appliances in most of my apartments and I didn't really enjoy those either. It's really just a preference thing, I guess. I don't know. But this is going to be that little kind of walk-in pantry area that I was talking about, and there really isn't anything in there at all. I just wanted to make it look somewhat utilized. I don't even know if your Sims could technically walk in there. There'd really be no reason, so I didn't play test it, but you could turn that into something else if you'd wanted to. It could even be like a half bathroom. I don't know. Maybe that could be something. There were a lot of bathrooms in this build, so I just didn't do a half bath. And this is actually one of the, actually I'll call it a 3/4 bath because it's not a full bath because there's only a bathtub. But there is the toilet, sink, and a bathtub. And then the other bathrooms in this build, there's 2 more full bathrooms, and then there is a half bathroom. It actually has a washer and dryer for laundry. So I kind of forgotten, it's oddly the biggest bathroom too, that is only the half bath. Now, originally, this is kind of before I had a full plan of the bedrooms, and you can see that I put the bookcases in that room there. I was gonna make it like a big open office or like play area or something, and that's when I realized I needed to make it a bedroom. So this ends up being the primary bedroom, and again, it is on the first floor, so this is where the parents would sleep. This is their room, and they have the ensuite bathroom, which I thought was really nice. I have been able to give the primary bedrooms ensuite bathrooms more often than not recently, and I'm really pleased with myself because that is not always possible. But it ended up working out really nicely here, and I loved what I did with this room. You might not think it's a big deal, but I use hanging pendants over the side tables instead of like the actual like table lamps. That's what I'm trying to say. I was trying to find the name there in my head. And I liked the color scheme very, very much. It was a lot darker than I think the rest of the home, aside from maybe the dining chairs, but I think it really worked. And I liked using this vanity as well in this gray wood tone. I thought that was really pretty. And again, it kind of brings in that touch of rustic alongside this kind of modern contemporary looking dresser and bed from Dream Home Decorator as well. So I really tried to mix different wood tones, different colors, and different styles, and I really like the result. I really do. In this hallway, there is a closet, and then there's another bookcase, and then this side table, which I believe is that from Seasons 2? Is that one from Seasons? I can't remember if that's from Seasons or like the fitness stuff pack, which oddly enough had like a lot of furniture in it. I don't know, but I thought it was really pretty. Thought it fit the theme. And then this room over here is going to be one of the teenagers' rooms. And this teenager, I think, is just kind of dabbling with a lot of different interests. I typically do this with like kids or teenagers, honestly. I think they have a ton of different interests and they're still trying to figure out who they are. I was going to try to squeeze 2 kids in there, but then I was like, you know what? This would be really nice for the teenager to have a room on the first floor, a bigger room too, I think, than the other teenager has, unfortunately. But I did use this bed from high school years, and I think that this teen is into sports. That's pretty much all I had. I don't know if they necessarily play sports, but I think they really enjoy watching sports. I think they enjoy watching basketball. I think they also really enjoy soccer. Those were the 2 sports I was thinking, but they don't play any sports themselves. They just really enjoy spectating. I think they're probably one of those Sims that's into like Sim madness. That's what I'm going to call March Madness in The Sims. I don't know. I feel like they always do brackets for like March Madness, stuff like that. And they follow the World Cup and all that stuff. Like they're really, really into it. And maybe they even do like internet commentary on the games and everything, because I did give them this like gaming headset and they do have their own computer. That could be kind of a fun thing. I don't know. I obviously know you can't do that in The Sims, but that was kind of the thought, is that they're really, really active in speaking about it and really enjoy sports. They also have a full stereo in here, so I think they really enjoy music and things like that. You know, just typical teen stuff, nothing super exciting. And I think I actually put the stereo in off camera as well because I didn't know if I could fit it in there. But now we're on to the second story, and there is again 2 bedrooms upstairs. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs, pardon my grammar. And one of them is a kid's room, and then the other is the second teen room. The kids' room, very, very awkward shape because the upstairs is honestly kind of awkward. I didn't really know what to do with it. And I was going to try to keep that closet there. I was going to just say kind of, screw it, I'll put it in front of the window, I don't care, but that really bothered me. So this room ended up being a weird shape. And I ended up giving these kids bunk beds so they had plenty of room in the rest of the room for other activities that they could actually like take part in. I think they have a creativity table, they have a desk so they could do like their homework or write in their journal or something like that. They've got a bookcase. I didn't give them that many activities, did I? I really didn't. But I had fun with the room. I was going through the activities in my head and I'm like, I actually didn't give them that many activities, but it's a decent sized room, which I really enjoyed. I don't usually have bedrooms that are this size, so that was kind of nice. It was just because it was an odd shape. That was pretty much it. It was an odd shape, which made me a little uneasy because I just really didn't know how to decorate it, but I figured something out and hopefully you all enjoy it because I ended up liking the result. But I do swap out that desk from Dream Home Decorator with this one here because I just thought it was a little bit more fitting. And I use these little cubes, these little like modular cube things from high school years. And I did this in an apartment build recently and I really liked it. And I put it over the desk and kind of put just some clutter things like this little camper's light and some craft things and some books and stuff. But I also clutter up the desk too because I can't just leave the desk barren. That's not going to work for me. And I have 2 things of flowers on there. So there's that. I don't know why, but that's what I ended up doing. They do have a dresser over in this other kind of weird nook too, and then there's the bookcase in the opposite nook. Then we have a ton of wall space that I put like a wall mirror and some posters and the little height chart right near the door as well. I thought that was kind of cute. I love using that for like kid and toddler rooms usually toddler rooms, but maybe these are pretty young kids. Like maybe they're like five or six or something. And they're just starting to really get into some things. Or maybe there's like a younger one and an older one. Maybe there's like an 8-year-old and like a 5-year-old or something like that. That could be kind of cute. And then this is going to be the other teen room. And I kind of went with a very pink theme in here, but I was going for more of kind of this interest in anime or things like that. I'm not well versed, okay? I'm not at all, but that's kind of what I was going for. And I went with a very just pink theme, and I really did like it. And I think that this teen is either really into like singing along with playing the guitar, because they do have a guitar, but I think they're really into singing. They're really into makeup and like making sure that their hair is perfect. And maybe they dress kind of quirky too. Like they wear a lot of bright colors and stuff. I don't know. I was just trying to think. I think their personality is a little bit more eccentric than their siblings is perhaps how I would put it. But I really liked the space. It was a smaller room, so I was nervous about how much I could fit in here, but I like how it came together. I loved the rug from the pastel pop kit. I loved all the pink furniture items I was able to find and fit in here. And I loved that I was able to give them a desk, but I used that little makeup mirror thing from the Everyday Clutter kit that I haven't been able to use yet that much. I think I used it once or twice, but I actually put it on the desk so your sim can sit there and use it. And I was thrilled by this. And then the last part of this build is going to be the backyard, as it typically is. And I did carry the landscaping through, of course, to the backyard by diving into the debug menu. And back here, I did struggle just a little bit because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted there to be in the backyard. I don't think this family spends a lot of time outside. Like they don't do a lot of gardening, or I don't know, they're just not very outdoorsy. Like the kids wouldn't be excited about a swing set. That's kind of what I'm going for, because I didn't give them one. But they do have a very tiny pool, and then they also have an outside picnic table, and they have a grill on the porch. So maybe they enjoy a meal out here every now and then when the weather is nice, and they do have 2 lounge chairs. So maybe they're also Sims that have this pool, at least the adults, like they have this pool, and they spend all of their time just lounging by the pool instead of going in the pool. And like the kids and the teens are the only people that use it. But it's not necessarily a big enough pool for them to have like a pool party for their friends or anything like that. It's not, I don't know. I don't know where my head's going, but that's kind of where it's going. But the landscaping is pretty much done. I was originally going to actually use this kind of like stone through the entire backyard, but I always like to have at least a little bit of a grassy area. So I was trying to make it a little bit more natural feeling and kind of separate the spaces. And that's when I realized that I did want a pool, because I put the picnic table here at first, and I was like, this is a lot of space for just a picnic table. And I also took out some gardening plot things here too, and I was like, maybe I can make this work. I just didn't know how to decorate it. It looked very empty and not very like warm and welcoming. So I felt, you know what, if I can fit a pool, I'll just do a pool. And I was able to do it. It's just kind of tiny, but there is at least one pool floaty in there, and they've got a pool. So, I mean, what more could you ask for? That's luxury in and of itself, right? And then I basically just split the backyard, not evenly, but in more of an even shape, if you will. And I'm adding the lounge chairs, and then I just carry through more of the landscaping and add a little fence to kind of separate these spaces as well. But that is pretty much it for the build. I will leave you all here. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
From my window, sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon, Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Yeah. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed. I get the wine and the corkscrew. You don't have to do one single thing. You don't know how much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole world spin. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon. Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in